Hello, everybody. I don't know if you can hear me because I don't have any headphones on. I'm not going to be able to hear you. However, we'll go ahead and go through with, some of my thoughts that I have. Okay, I hope you're all doing well. Hey, Powder Puff, Lillian, hi there, and Shalimar, good to see you. Hey, Elizabeth, Powder Puff, welcome, Powder Puff, and Skittle, how are you doing? You caught me in my nest. This is actually where I sit when I'm just kind of hanging out, just spending the day doing what I do, right? It's my corner. It's in my comfy, slip covered down sofa. And Sage just got her spot on the end of the sofa down there. And this is kind of where we sit. I can look out across the ocean over there. The cats are playing. Hold on a minute. I'll see if y'all can see them. Hold on. Is there anything I want to hide? I don't see anything I want to hide. Hold on. See. Okay. So the cats are playing. They're having fun. Oops. Cats are playing. They're having fun. I thought about going downstairs to my office to do my video. I decided, why? I'm here. So got a couple things going on. If you can hear me, put a 1. Let's make sure that that's operable before I go on and spend an hour running my mouth. Hey, Zelda. Let's trade for a few weeks. I would love to sit on top of your mountain. True. Let me see. Everybody can hear me. Good. Okay. Very good. Well, okay. So the title of the video is drama, drama, drama. And that, Ukraine is really, it's just, Ukraine is really just kind of as bad as it could possibly get. I've got a lot of thoughts on what's happening in the Ukraine and our position in it. And you may say, but we're not in it. Oh, yes, we are. We're the de facto world power, even though the current administration has decided to lead from behind, whatever that means. I don't think it's going so well. I think that the animal kingdom has taught us that when there's a vacuum of power, then other would-be leaders will fight to the death to fill that vacuum. You think about a pride of lions, and of course, the meanest, strongest lion in the pack, he gets to be king, right? He's got all his lady lions with him. And as he begins to age, or maybe illness sets in, then the younger lions know that. Now, the big lion is aware that as the male lions are born and they come up and begin to grow, they begin to realize that those little males are going to fight for his job, for his position. And they push the young males out and they make them leave. They fight and make them leave. In an effort to protect the position of power, right? The female lions don't interfere because they want the survival of the pride, and therefore they're not going to interfere with the mother nature. They want the lion that is most likely to be able to protect them. They want that lion to be the one that wins. And so if it's the young one that ultimately wins, then they accept it and say, oh, well, see you later. You got old. Okay. Obviously, we have opposable thumbs, and we have a bit different type of brain. And so we don't really fight to the death, or do we? To see who's going to be leader of our people, our pride. right? We have elections. We disperse power upon many different positions and strata. But ultimately, if you reduce the world stage down to 9 or 10 great nations, or some people, if you count EU as one nation, if you count the European Union as one nation, then you're really only looking at about 5 or 6 major world players, government players. You reduce it down to that really simplistic, limited number of power players. If you don't have somebody leading, then there is a vacuum. And we're now seeing what happens when there's a vacuum in power. The young lion comes back to try to take that spot. In this case, it's not the young lion. In this case, it's an old lion who for many, many years, he's been in control. He's been under the control of the other world leaders. I think anyone who doesn't accept that animal nature is to try to climb up the heap, I think you're not being realistic at what you're looking at. And I'm a psychologist. I've taken my fair share of philosophy classes and all that. Identity matters, right? Identity matters. Whether you're talking about an individual or you're talking about the social strata, a group of people, identity matters. And the idea of utopia is a noble ideal. It's a dream that we would all live in a utopia. That would be the ideal. That would be the greatest. But sometimes things go wrong, and there are people that come into the world for whatever reason, and they're not kind, gentle people. They're not fair-minded people. There are people that come in the world that are bad people, and they will hurt others and subjugate others and exploit others to get the things they want. So if you have set up a utopia, it's a small group of you, you've set up a utopia, and your child is born into this utopian world, and for whatever reason something goes wrong, and now that kid is hitting other kids, trying to stab you. Are you going to let this really violent, unusual outlier, you going to let him stay in your utopia and mess your utopia up? Or is there going to have to be someone strong enough in the utopian community to say, we don't want you here. You cannot be a part of us because your special needs are destroying the good of everyone else. And then are you going to be able to stand back and let them kick that person out that is disrupting your gentle, loving, forgiving community? There always will need to be some type of power structure to protect the good. Otherwise, it's going to be the exact opposite. Otherwise, the bad people are going to take control. They're going to be the ones that are going to hold the power, and that's going to make it miserable for the majority of the society, community, or culture. So for people that are kind and they don't believe that control comes through punitive punishment and bad things, subjugation. For those of us that believe that we can get more flies with honey than we do with vinegar, then we don't like the idea of there being a need for power and punishment. But in truth, peace is obtained through power. That is the truth. Most people that, for whatever reason, they want to exploit or subjugate or punish, they do it with someone that they observe as being weaker than them. It is a very unusual thing to see someone small and weak and mean slap out at someone that they perceive as being able to hurt them. If they do, maybe they're just crazy, or they don't know what they're thinking about. They don't know who they're messing with, kind of deal. But they'll always find out who they're messing with. So I have a problem with lead from behind. I didn't understand that phrase the first time I heard it. I certainly am unhappy to see that my fears came to fruition. I think that what happened in Afghanistan for me was one of the worst things that I've ever seen in my lifetime, my whole 77 years of living. I think what happened in Afghanistan was the worst thing that I've ever seen, because I grew up at a time where women before me had fought for my right to go to school and work and be whatever I wanted to be. And if I didn't want to be a mom or a wife or a stay at home, then I didn't have to be. If I wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer, then that's certainly all. I could do whatever I wanted. That my achievements were only limited by my imagination and my willingness to work and apply myself. So there were women that came before me that fought for my right to do that, right? So I grew up in a time where there wasn't very many people, there weren't very many female engineers. There weren't very many female doctors, medical students. It was almost all men. And then, of course, now when I walk through the hospital, women are dominating the medical field. I mean, nearly all of it, not so much in surgery. Still, I think probably surgery is half and half, men and women. But certainly in specialty areas like neurology and whatnot, women are absolutely dominating. We got many, many women that are in biomedical engineering. They don't do so much mechanical engineering, although there are those. So when I see, 10, 15, 20 years where we're promising Afghani women, your daughters are going to live different than you. Your daughters are going to grow up in a world different than yours. And then we just leave them. We just abandon them literally to the wolves. I was traumatized in a horrible way. I mean, it felt really personal. It was really hard for me. Y'all know that it was hard because I made some videos about it. So for me, what we did, abandoning the women and families in Afghanistan, was absolutely the worst of the worst. But I think there were bigger ramifications than just the Afghani women and families. And I'm not saying that they don't matter, because to me they were primary. They were center stage for me. We can't do this. What about those people we promised that they were going to have a different life? We can't leave them without some protection, something. But for people that are more strategic in thinking, they were predicting. They said, this is bad. This is a bad thing. We go off and we just leave. They take how many billions of dollars in military equipment, and we look really weak to Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin. This is not good. It's going to end up in a bad place. And I thought, well, no. Think about the women. Focus on the women. That was I kept thinking, don't go off in a tangent. Stay focused on what matters. But they were right. They were right. So now we're here, regardless of what my old opinions were. We're here now. And I thought that Poland stepped up. They had a great idea. They offered their MiGs. Putin is leveraging a lot of threats against the United States because we're a nuclear nation. In essence, he has said to Biden, don't. You make a move, I'm going to hurt you, and I'm going to hurt you in a way that you and I both understand. And so I think Biden is terrified of a nuclear weapon. Terrified. Putin knows that he's terrified. But Poland jumped up and they said, well, wait a minute, we're right on the border, that we have skin in the game, so to speak. We don't have a ocean like the US is an ocean away. We're right here. So we could offer the Ukrainian Air Force, we could offer them the planes. And then if they have some help in the sky, they have a fighting chance, right? What they did ask for, though, is because strategically, if they're going to give their MiGs to Ukraine, then now they're going to be without any protection to help them in case crazy Putin decides to go into Poland. Like who? And so it seemed like it was a done deal. It seemed like Blinken seemed like it was a done deal, that Poland would give their planes to Ukraine. And then in a separate transaction, the United States would give old F-16s of ours to Poland in case they had to protect against Putin. And Biden, the Pentagon said, no, we're not going to do that. So they are scared. They are outclassed. The Biden administration is not prepared for what is happening. Xi Jinping and Putin know that he's not capable of managing what's happening. I think that the generals are running the Pentagon completely independent of the White House. I don't see how the vice president's office is any more help. I've heard people say, well, we gotta help Biden get out of there. He, cognitively he's having some problems. We've seen it. And let Harris come in and make some decisions. But it's so hard to even listen to her. It's so hard to even understand what she's saying with all the giggling, and it's weird. We're in some really weird times. But regardless of how they work through the chess pieces of all this, here's where I stand. It doesn't matter who's in charge. It doesn't matter if we're talking about NATO or if we're talking about the EU or UK or the United States. It doesn't matter. Here's my position. And I don't like it. Don't get me wrong. I think up until 3 weeks ago, there were a lot of different choices that could have been made. I think now there's not. So here's what I think. I think Putin's mad, and I think that's not a good thing. I think Putin, in his old age, he has rearranged the pieces of his personal life in a way that suggests that he's not doing well emotionally and cognitively. He almost seems to be kind of reverting back a little bit, which is what you would see with a type of vascular dementia. He blew up his family in order to be with this 25-year-old gymnast, right? It's crazy. So I don't think that we're dealing with somebody who's really, I don't think he's really dealing with the year 2022. And I think I didn't get scared until I saw the latest statement that was made by the president of China. And that was that China is appealing publicly. He's appealing to everyone to keep their heads about them and to stay in control where Ukraine is concerned. And as he's talking, it sounds like he's talking to his little buddy, Vladimir. He sounds like he's telling Vlad to chill. You know, he sounds like he's saying to Putin, what are you doing? Hey, this is not what we talked about. We said we're not going to blow up maternity hospitals. Remember, Vlad? But I think Putin is pissed off. I think he's angry. And I think when people get angry, especially older people that may be having a little bit of trouble cognitively, he doesn't have any of his family. He was always really grounded in his family, which is weird to think about, right? But he was always really grounded in his family. He didn't allow people to talk about his wife or his kids. He never wanted his wife or kids to be associated with his public persona as prime minister or president or whatever position he happened to have in the moment. Was always kept really private. And he spent a great deal of time with them in isolated places like their farm or their camps or whatever, so that most days of his life were really normal. He had the same age wife, you know, by his side that he had married in his youth. They played board games together. They were real normal acting. And I think that helped keep him grounded and centered to make the right kinds of decisions for his position as the president or prime minister or whatever. That's not what he has now. He's thrown all that away. He had a midlife crisis at about 70, and he blew up his life, and now he's alone. He's alone in terms of family. He's got illegitimate children that are spread around that he doesn't see. He's got the people that are in government with him are afraid of him. They don't trust him. He has a lot of fun making fun of them. He knows that they're afraid of him. And really, I think the person closest to him is Xi, the president of China. And he doesn't seem like he understands what Putin is doing right now. He seems like he's a little afraid of Putin. So I think we have a big problem over there. Lindsey Graham basically called for his assassination, which is really illegal. You're not supposed to do. You can't call for the assassination of another world leader, but he has twice on national television. So a lot of people, I think, are really worried and concerned about the way he's making his choices and his decisions. But here's what I think. I think that regardless how you feel about it, we're here now. This is what we're dealing with. And now we have some really hard choices to make. And it is this. If you give him Ukraine, if you throw up the white flag and say, I'm done, don't kill any more babies, don't bomb any more hospitals, you can have it, right? I think he's angry. I think he has depleted far more of his ammunitions and vehicles and personnel than he ever intended. And I don't think he will stop at the Ukraine. I think if they try to say, sorry, we're done, we surrender, you win, I don't think he would be satisfied. I think he's really angry. I think that if we give him Ukraine, I think that puts Poland and everybody else in danger. I think the EU is in danger at that point. And so originally last week, I was thinking, no, you don't want the UN to go in and control the airspace. You don't want UN troops on the ground. You don't want anything that's going to be a provocation for the use of a nuclear weapon. But at this point, I think he's feeling his weakness. So I kind of am at the point now. Here's what I think. I think everyone should stop buying their oil and oil products, gasoline, hydrocarbon stuff. It should all come to a screeching halt. I think that the UN, the UK, the United States of America, I think we all load up troops and send there. And then if he uses a nuclear weapon, then I think we respond in kind. Because at this point, I think we're there. I think he's been pushed. I don't think if he sees a show of power, I don't think he'll use one. You know what I mean? I think if he sees the world united and taking definitive action at this point where he's already been used up so much of his resources, I think if he sees power, I think he finds a way to back off. That's what I think. It could be that you fortify Poland and you give him Ukraine. You say you can have Ukraine, but look right across the border. You can have Ukraine, but what do you see in Poland, right? You let him see that you're willing to take the loss of Ukraine, but don't take another step, because if you do, you're going to be hurt badly. But they are not going to do that. So it doesn't matter what I think, they're not going to do that. So, I also read an article today that said that the United States is leading Western nations in an oil embargo against Russia or against Russian oil. That is not true. We've already got plenty of people, countries that have refused to buy anything Russian. They're not buying Russian oil. They're not selling McDonald's hamburgers, not doing any of that. Biden did not want to cut off purchasing oil from Russia. Absolutely did not. Absolutely did not. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. If the U.S. stops buying Russian oil, it's only 1%. I'm talking about from it hurting them. It's not enough to have an effect on them. It's going to hurt us dramatically. Okay. And when I say it's going to hurt us, I'm talking about at your gas pump. I'm talking about the cost of a pound of coffee, because that truck that had to buy gasoline to drive your pound of coffee to your local Kroger. Okay. So prices are going to go up dramatically, but here's what I don't understand. Biden went to Venezuela. I don't mean he got on an airplane and went down there. He's been calling the president of Venezuela. He has been, according to Jen Psaki, who is his mouthpiece, begging OPEC. He's begging oil-producing nations. He begging to go to Saudi Arabia to meet with the prince, or I guess he's king now, right? King Salman. He begging, please give an audience to the president of the United States of America. You know, dun 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 dun. Guess what they said? The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, our friends. Guess what they said? We don't want to meet with Biden. No. Don't get on Air Force One and come over here, because we're not going to let you land. We don't want to talk to you. Oh, King, I don't think you heard me. I said the president of the United States of America wants to talk to you. I heard you. I don't want to talk to him. There you go for a sobering moment in history. More of the effects of leading from behind. Okay. We got a mess. It's going to be really uncomfortable, I think, for Americans, because we're not used to being in this position. You know, we're used to being in a position where our word was gold. And when we would promise to do something to help people, a nation, people believed us, and they don't believe us anymore. So it does look like at this point now, in terms of power decision making of the United States of America, I think we're really low man on the totem pole. I think that what's going to happen in the Ukraine and Russia, I think that's going to be determined by the EU, the United Nations, and then Boris Johnson in the United Kingdom. But the EU will be powerful in this because they have skin in the game for sure. So it is a weird place that I find myself trying to watch what they're doing and thinking, who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? I don't know. I don't know who the good guys and the bad guys are. It's a weird. I was talking to my mom. We don't know. It's weird. It's a very strange situation. Read another article that I didn't understand, and you gotta understand something. When I talk about that, I read these things that I don't understand. It's not very often that I read about something and have trouble understanding it. And this is really hard for me because it's weird. But here's some I don't understand. I read an article where the Russian troops took Chernobyl off of the electric grid. Why would they do that? I don't know why, but they have, or at least it's been reported in I think it was Russia Today. I'll have to look it up. I can't remember exactly, but somewhere I read an article that they had taken Chernobyl off of the EU electric grid. So that's very strange, but I don't know what it means. So what am I doing because of all this strangeness in the world? Nothing except buying things that keep on a shelf. And the only reason that I'm buying extra of that is to try to cut down on the price. The things like sugar and coffee, they're commodities like gold, and things like sugar and rice and wheat's going to go sky high. Nickel is more than doubled. In fact, they quit trading it. The emergency stops went on at the stock market because price doubled. And so they can't trade until I believe Friday on nickel. Gold has blown up like Foodie Beauty. Okay, gold popped up over $140, $150 in a 24-hour period. If you own gold, then you were having fun. It's all-time historical high prices in gold, never seen before. Went as high as at one point $2,032 an ounce, I think it was. So if you buy bullion, you're a happy camper. It's supposed to go higher. You've got some people that are some investors from Kuwait are even calling for as much as 3,000 an ounce before this is over. That's a bit hard to believe, but that's what they claim. All-time high prices in oil and gas. Normally Brent C, that is the price that governs Russia and EU type sales of oil, right? It's a different kind of oil, really rich. It usually runs about $10 or $15 per gallon more per barrel more than like our U.S. standard price. But even in the United States, we went as high as 100 and I've kind of lost track now. $130, $140 a barrel, which is crazy. But the Wall Street Journal this morning is saying, oh, no. It hadn't got crazy yet. Get ready, because you're looking at least $185 a barrel. And I said to my husband, I said, I wish my dad was alive to see this. You know, it's pretty amazing. So oil is going sky high. And if you knew everything that they use in that barrel of oil, all the products that are in your home, shampoo, I mean, shoes on your feet, there's very little stuff that doesn't come from oil in crude oil in some way or other. So it's not just gasoline. It's everything is going to go sky high. Everything. So anything that you can buy now that will sit on a shelf and keep, do it. It's not going to hurt you. You're going to end up using it anyway, which is kind of what we told ourselves when we were looking at the whole pandemic problem, right? We're like, well, if it's stuff that you're going to use anyway, why not have some extra on hand? So I'm telling you, sugar, coffee are going to be enormously expensive. Wheat is going to, anything that would use wheat. So I don't know how much wheat is something though that we've kind of cut down on in this country, because so many people are, what's it called? Where you're allergic to it. What do y'all call that? I can't think of it right now. But it's going to be hot. Rice would be something really good to have on hand, and you know, do the best you can. What you buy now costs less than what it's going to be in a month or in 2 months. Gluten, powder puff, got me. You got my back, girl. Okay, gluten, yeah. So many people now are aware of gluten and they're, you know, like gluten intolerant. So a lot of people have started those types of diets where they avoid gluten, which is wheat, basically. Grow your own tomatoes, right? You can grow tomatoes really, really easily. You can grow crookneck squash really, really easily. You can grow beans. Snap beans are so easy. Cucumbers are so easy. If you don't know how to grow something, read about it. You can grow stuff in pots if you live in an apartment. It's just going to save you money, you know? So, what else? Was there anything about the news that I was going to comment on? I think I covered all the news. Can you believe what if it's 45 minutes talking about the damn news? Foodie Beauty. If you know who Foodie Beauty is, put a 1. Anybody know who Foodie Beauty is? Or what's her name? Chantal? Okay, few people know who Foodie Beauty is. Okay, I don't know if y'all heard the gossip. It's not Powder Puff's laughing at me. She's going, what? What the hell is Jules talking about? How does she know Foodie Beauty? I know Foodie Beauty. I'm in all the gossip drama world watching. Okay, I know about Foodie Beauty. This morning, like between 3:17 and 3:33, Foodie Beauty, who had a huge channel, huge. She makes like $10,000, $15,000 a month on her YouTube channel. Her channel was terminated. Boom. Over. Gone. Did y'all know that? She was canceled in a big way, right? Yes, Shalimar. Totally canceled. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. We don't want to hear from you. That's how terminated she was. Now, why was she terminated? because she broke terms of service. Well, a lot of people break terms of service. A lot of people do things like dox jewels of thought. A lot of people run their mouths and give my first and my last name and where I live and what kind of job I do, and they will answer for that. But there's other kinds of terms of service that YouTube doesn't play, like nudity. And Foodie Beauty was basically in the what should we call this, y'all? Those of you that know. Would we say that she was in a meltdown? She's been in this slow burn, right? There's been like this slow spiral down for several months. She met this guy. He wasn't very nice to her. He exploited her. She allowed him to exploit her. She began using a lot of different types of drugs. She was smoking marijuana in her life. One of the last lives that I watched, which was about a week ago, I will peek in at her, watch about 15 minutes and then move on. I don't watch very long. But when I went to the channel, she was sitting there. She was this close to the camera like I am now, and she had a joint and she's lighting it and smoking, not hiding it from YouTube. You know, her haters were reporting drugs. You know they were. Then somebody told her to go on this website that's like, I'm not going to say what the name of the website is, but where you can just go and it's other people and you can watch people like having sex, right? It's kind of like a dating app, but it's on the computer and, you know, you can see people. Well, she had two, not one, two. She had two guys on the channel. Both of them looked like they were 14, 15 years old. They looked like little boys, and they were nude, showing their family jewels on her channel. So it just got away from her. She just was always worried about not having a guy, wanting someone to love her. And she just couldn't appreciate all of the things, all the blessings that she did have, like good friends, her cats, a beautiful place to live, the fact that she had a job that was paying her more than $100,000 a year. And I thought to myself, how many of us are making that very same mistake right now? Maybe not to the extent that she did, but how many of us are so concerned and worried about small things and we just let it take control of us and we lose sight of all the great things that we have? We spend so much time thinking about the things we don't have that we ignore all the really great things we do have, right? So if somebody could have just gotten to her before this, you know, they could have just gotten to her and said, hey, slow down, you know, stop a minute, look around you. What are your blessings? What are the things you're grateful for? Get this loser out of your life. Quit letting him tear down your self-confidence. Let's get back on track with a great channel that you've got. But she just couldn't do it. How many other YouTubers are in the process of decompensating, about to lose their channel because they have gotten so off course and confused about the purpose of what they're trying to create with their YouTube channel? And the trolls like that. The trolls enjoy, you know, getting people messed up. So if you're going to have a YouTube channel, you're going to be a sub, you're going to kind of go from community to community and whatnot. Stay the course. If you're hanging out in the channel where there's a lot of drama and it bothers you, it makes you nervous, you find yourself getting angry, don't go to that channel. Right? It's a pretty simple fix. There's a lot of really great channels out there. All right, what else? Handwriting and personality. I made a little blip in response to the the interview that was done by Grandis in the Summer Wells case. With that interview, Chris McDonough and his friend Steve have a reason I'm smiling, but I'm not going to tell you why. They looked at a piece of handwriting, and this guy has a certificate proving that he's had a class or that he's an expert on handwriting analysis. I did a little bitty live, and I just said that's not real. There are some good uses for handwriting, but you can't decide if somebody is guilty or innocent by looking at their handwriting. I promise. And I had some very upset person who informed me of Chris's friend's name and that he has a certificate in handwriting analysis. And do I myself have a certificate in handwriting analysis? And I said, no, I don't. I got a big file full of certificates that I have to turn into my licensing board every time I'm going to renew my license. But I don't think that I've ever taken a class in handwriting analysis. I don't think I've ever done that. But I have a great amount of education and experience and assessment hours in personality evaluation, personality and analysis and research and design. And I'm here to tell you, I swear to you, y'all have to please believe me, okay? You cannot tell what a person's personality is by their handwriting. You cannot determine if someone is lying by their handwriting. You cannot do that. I promise you. And when I go to work, they call me doctor. Okay? I promise you guys, you can't do that. But what you can do is you can take a piece of handwriting and you can make a determination within a certain confidence level about whether a person is the one that wrote that or not. Like you could, if you've got a piece of old handwriting that you know was written by Joe Blow, and then 10 years later, there's another piece of handwriting, a ransom note, and you think, oh, you know, this handwriting on this ransom note, it looks really familiar. Wonder why? Oh, well, remember we had that other handwriting from Joe Blow. Could it be the same person? Well, then analysts can look at that and they can evaluate what they're looking at and make a determination. Well, I'm 20% positive that this is the same person, or I'm 90% positive this is the same person. Okay, so that there's usefulness for it. But just because your handwriting is poor, it doesn't mean that you're a liar. It doesn't mean that you stopped in mid-thought and had to construct a lie. It doesn't mean that at all. In fact, as I was preparing for my live that I'm going to do later on today, I have an empirical project that was published in a peer-reviewed journal, and it showed that people that have messy handwriting tend to have a higher intelligence level. So that, you know, there's weird things like that. That also, can I say this about the voice stress? What do they call it? Voice stress analysis. It's only as good as 50%. So using voice stress analysis or flipping a coin, you're going to get the same results in terms of confidence that your guess is right. It doesn't work. It's less reliable than a polygraph, and a polygraph is not very reliable at all. So I actually am on some publications where we were measuring response time as a possible determinant of people that were being disingenuous. Same thing, didn't have anything to do with the price tags in China. It was slightly more predictive than polygraph, and we had a professional polygrapher from the police department that was doing their variable. But it wasn't enough to say, hey, we could go into a court of law with this. It's just not good. Now, what things like voice stress analysis, polygraphs, what they do is they sort of trick the criminal, increase the stress on the criminal to where just becomes so uncomfortable to lie, they finally give in and say, no, it's not what happened. So it can do that. And, and Tammy and them know that. You could listen to them laughing and giggling when they were at the prison talking to Chris Watts. She knows that it's, black magic kind of stuff. So, but for certain handwriting, you can't tell if someone's innocent or guilty by looking at their handwriting. You can't tell if someone's writing means that they're telling a lie. Right off the bat, see, I said I wasn't going to get deep into this, but right off the bat, one of the first articles that I read, and I've been reading all night, right off the bat, one of the first articles I read said that handwriting analysis reflects over 5,000 personality traits. This is from like the National Handwriting Analysis group of very smart people. I don't know what the name of it was. Well, right off the bat, that's a problem because there's a mountain of evidence, research, empirical, good quality research where personality has been broken down into, depending on what model you're going to use, but the most well-known models, the most often accepted models, one is 16 factors, but the one that really has the most utility because it is the most predictive in well-controlled research is the 5-factor model. There's 5 major factors of research and personality and that is used in research. Not 5,000. That's just silly. If you're trying to get 5,000, it just means that you're using a lot of adjectives that all mean the same factor. So right off the bat, what they're saying was it's not empirically sound, right? So I'm going to talk about that. I don't want to talk about it because I like to avoid. Well, I like to have fun when I'm on my YouTube channel, and I don't want to be, I don't want to be working when I'm on my YouTube channel. But I'm seeing a lot of people that are really back on this. Candace did it. Did you see the handwriting sample? Look at the handwriting. The handwriting proves she did it. No, it doesn't. And frankly, from a professional detective, no, it doesn't say that she did it. We don't know if she did it. It doesn't look good. There's a lot of us that think she probably did. I think it's likely that she knows what happened. But I don't like the Salem witch trials were a horrible thing that happened. And there were a lot of people that lost their lives. by being burned at the stake over something that was just nonsense. The handwriting analysis to prove that somehow that Candace is lying or that she's the culprit, it's nonsense. Please believe me, it's nonsense. There are good applications to handwriting analysis. I'm not saying that it's never worthwhile, but in this application of looking at this one piece of written text and saying, because it's messy, because it's chaotic, because she's using a pen that's probably been beat up and cheap. And so, if you slow down writing, you're going to get too much ink on the paper. Because of that, you're now once again on a witch hunt to make sure that she's the one that did it, but because she wrote a note, or because people really like to come to your channel and listen to you be a detective. So you get a lot of views. I'd come to your channel and listen to you be a detective. I come to watch the interviews of people. I'm not being a hypocrite. But I think the sheriff hasn't made a move to arrest her. So I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about this whole handwriting thing. I'm going to give you the real science on personality and neurology, the neurographia intersection for how it is that we are capable of writing, all the different systems from the spinal cord up to the left and right parietal lobes, what that does, the different types of diseases and neurological diseases and conditions that can influence and affect handwriting. And I'm going to prove that a small piece of paper that somebody scribbled something down on, it's just not going to give you any clue, none whatsoever, that this person that wrote it is responsible for the missing person. It's just not going to do it. You want to I can give you a test right now to prove my point. You want me to do it right now? And then I'm going to end this live, okay? Break your finger. Any finger you want on the hand that you write with, and then try to write a little 5 or 6 sentence note. Your note will not look anything like a note that you wrote last week. And there's a lot of reason. One would be pain. One will be because the muscles and the bones will have to work differently to accommodate the break. So please, don't with the whole handwriting thing. Don't renew your witch hunt against Candace just because of a note. Don't do that. It's not right. You wouldn't want it done to you or your loved ones. The real clues, I think, are the original facts, and that is what did she originally say versus what's being said now. I do think it is quite notable that Grandis said she took a nap. We never heard that before. You want to speculate on something? There you go. That matters. That mattered. That was huge. Not the note. Trust me, I have no reason at all to mislead on this. But it just seems so I wasn't really going to even say any more about it. I was just going to leave it alone. I said that it's not connected. Personality doesn't have anything to do with handwriting. I said I was going to leave that alone. And then we had Gold Star. I think that's what it was. Gold Star was very indignant, very upset with me, and let me know that Steve has a certificate and that I don't. And so I should just shut up and let Steve and his certificate carry on with the witch hunt. And I thought, it's not right. Shouldn't do it. It does matter very much, I think, that Candace Grandis said, that she took a nap, because we never heard that before, and it doesn't work with the timeline that Candace originally put out there. So I think it's really hard to ignore the nap. I do think it's really hard to ignore the nap. All right. So if you see me live later on today and you have no interest in an academic discussion, then don't watch my live. I don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it to prove my point that really and truly it's not a thing. Okay. Hey, Blonde PT, how are you? Grandma was like, with the nap, nothing. Yeah, absolutely. The whole nap thing was new, right? That wasn't anything that we had heard before. So it's very interesting. And I'm going to tell you this too. I don't mean like it from a personal perspective. I mean, I don't like taking each individual word and turning it into something ominous or nefarious. It's dangerous, Chris McDonough lost his channel. Remember, it went down for a short while. And he appealed it, and got it back and everything. But remember, before the channel went down, remember how he was convinced that there was a guy on Twitter, an account on Twitter, that he was convinced was a guy that was wanted for the murder of Gabby Petito, right? He was convinced. And during that few weeks, or it may even lasted even a month. No, I think it was a couple of weeks. No, maybe it was about a month. But you remember, he went through the whole Nomadic Trek account and pulled out these posts that were left on Twitter. And he did this super deep analysis of each little word or each little meme. Y'all remember this? And that's how he kind of convinced himself that it was, in fact, what was the guy's name? Brian? It wasn't at all. And I kind of think that may have been part of why he lost his channel, was trying to sort through everything, because he's a credible guy. I mean, he's a well-known, credible guy. He's not a nut. He's, but I think they kind of wanted to get a handle on things and say, wait, you can do this, but you can't do that, right? So and since then, things have been going really well. It's been none of this kind of, concerning type of behavior. But now we're right back in the middle of it. We're doing it right again. We put the damn note up there and we analyze it letter by letter, space by empty space. And the culminating idea is, oh yeah, she's deceptive. She definitely has something to hide. Mm-hmm. Yeah. With no mention of the possibility of neurological decline, no mention of the influences of either intoxication or withdrawal, no kind of comment on mood. And listen, I got news for you guys. One of the biggest disruption in frontal lobe is depression and anxiety. Depression and anxiety. Your ability to carry out an organized plan is shot to hell if you're dealing with symptoms of depression or anxiety. Well, why wouldn't this woman, Candace, be dealing with symptoms of depression and anxiety? She is demonstrating a real substance problem. Her daughter has disappeared into thin air. She's lost all of her children to CPS, and now her husband is in jail. I mean, the closest thing she's got in her life is Benny Keys. So does it sound like she might be a little depressed? Maybe, right? And now, instead of being rational and logical and falling back on good, solid awareness of just what is handwriting, it's a mechanical process that demands a coordination between neurology, mostly I can't even say left lobe, because there's a left-right interplay before going down into your hand, which then also demands that there be eye-hand coordination. You're gonna bypass all of that miraculous physical body engineering and process. You're gonna bypass all of that to be able to say, oh, no. It's all messy like that because she's lying, She's just a liar. And you see that. You see that dot right? See that dot right there? The extra ink. See that little dot? That means that she held her pen down too long because she was concocting a lie. She just stopped writing and her pen was there for too long, which left too much ink there. And that's how we know she's a liar. See? So she's lying there. No, she's poor. She drinks an awful lot. She uses a lot of weed. It's probably a pen that's been in her truck for 2 years in the heat, and the ball is probably just not tight enough. So it probably puts too much ink out at one time. Right? So it's a lot of it just seems like we're right back at nomadic Trek again. Same kind of games. And they're games that hurt people. They matter. I would be willing to bet that if somebody was analyzing the handwriting of Chris McDonough's son and trying to claim that because of a handwritten note that Chris McDonough's son stole a bag of Doritos, I don't think that Chris would be very happy about it. I think he would say, you're crazy. Shut up. You got a note that my son wrote in his history class, and you're going to try to analyze that and say, oh, yeah, see, this proves that he stole a bag of Doritos. Don't be stupid. I think that's what Chris McDonough would say. That's the truth. But with Candace, it's good theater. It's good theater. It's the kind of thing that sells in the YouTube true crime community. So, and she may be guilty. She may be guilty as sin. She may have absolutely she may know exactly what happened to Summer. In no way am I taking a stand on she is innocent or guilty. No way. In fact, if I was forced to make a choice, I would say she probably knows something. But what are we going to do when we start analyzing handwriting of people that are really good people, that are really innocent people? What if Candace doesn't know what happened to her baby? What if she legitimately has no idea what happened? I think as professionals, professional detectives or whatever, I think we have to be ethical. I think we have to be responsible with the information that we're putting out to people that may not have the same kind of education and experience that you have. I think I think we have to be ethical and honest people. So, all right. How's that? Am I done? It's dangerous because so many hang on every word. Cindy, such a great point, right? She's 100% right. You know, some channels on YouTube almost become like a fan club, right? They become like a fan club. I've even heard the word cult used. I've said it jokingly, but there are some channels that demand such a large following of people, and then the people can become almost rabid in the protection of their favorite creator. I don't know. I mean, I don't know why we do that. I mean, we all love to have a favorite team. We all have favorite jerseys, well, we love that. So maybe it's just an extension of that competitive affiliation kind of thing. But when you're a professional detective, and with Chris McDonough, it's a bit different because he's also on television. So a lot of people see him and they think, well, he's a celebrity. And unfortunately, in our society, we give celebrities a lot of credibility where they really shouldn't have it. I mean, look at Harvey Weinstein. He put out more of the epic blockbuster movies than any other person in Hollywood. I mean, ostensibly, he is the star maker, right, of our lifetime. And he's a pig. He's the worst humanity has to offer, right? But so being famous, being a star, any of those things doesn't mean you're a good principled person. But in our culture, we look up to that kind of thing. We don't necessarily worship the people that are the smartest among us, but we definitely worship those people that, have a pretty face or who make a living by being well known, are stars and celebrities. And so I think a lot of people look at Chris McDonough, they know he's a detective and a trained police officer, but he's also a celebrity. He's also a well-known celebrity kind of guy, right? So he commands a great deal of following, loyalty. People like him. He's personable. You listen to his show. He's kind. He's funny. He's handsome. He's all those things that we uphold in our culture. But don't you think that means that he has a higher standard to meet? That he, knowing that he has such a big following, knowing that people they believe him when he speaks about things related to investigations and law enforcement, they believe in him, rightly so, right? But to me, that doesn't mean it gives him license to be more reckless and careless. To me, it means that he has a greater standard to meet, that the information that he's putting out is professionally, it's solid information. A person that's a professional detective, police officer, this is somebody who's used to going and testifying on a stand, a witness stand. And when you go testify, you just can't say something just because it's your opinion. You can't just say something because you're thinking about it. Anything that you're said on the stand, you better be able to support it somehow, whether it's through publication, legal precedents, whatever it is, because you're going to get challenged by the opposing side. And you better be able to say, hey, this isn't just my opinion. This is tried and true information that has long standing credibility. I don't think there's a court anywhere that's going to allow somebody to come in and say, hey, see this? She wrote this. You see that space right there where there's nothing written right there in that little space. And then there's that dot of ink. Yeah, that means that she knows what happened to Summer. Mm-hmm. That's just how it is. Because I have a certificate, you know. I have a certificate. So don't question me. Don't ask me to show proof. Don't ask me to bring in legal precedent. Don't ask me to bring in empirical reviewed projects published, you know, in peer-reviewed journals. Don't ask for that empirical type standard. No. I have a certificate. And if I say that space with nothing written in, followed by an extra dot of ink, means that she knows what happened to Summer, then do not question me. No, it's not. No, he's a professional detective. He's got a long history of investigation, working cases. What that means is that he has a higher standard to meet. He has a greater responsibility to the people that come to listen to him. He has a responsibility to them that the information that he's putting out in the YouTube sphere, that it's accurate, and that it's ethical, that it's not a snake oil salesman type thing. Does that make sense? Okay, well, I hope it does. Okay. Just like Spider-Man said, with great power comes great responsibility. You are so right, Cindy. Cops' personality tests prove they are the closest to criminal that normal people can be. Hey, Nana, Flower Palmer, are you trying to get me in trouble? Watch, I'm not going to take the bait. Just going to scroll right past it. Yeah, no, I think we have a responsibility. Being blonde, powder puff, it's actually the opposite. Being blonde, nobody ever listens to me. What are y'all talking about? Looks like y'all having a fun conversation. Hey, Martin Smallwood, how are you? I'm used to that goddess-like respect. It is what it is. We all have our crosses to bear. It's hell being a goddess, right? Following someone because you enjoy their content versus following because of the drama and demands they employ are two different things. I don't understand how people fall in line behind these creators. Honey K, we are communicating. It's a mystery to me. You hear my bird? That is one happy bird. I can promise you that. Hey, Joe Smith, how are you? Hey, Charlie Manson, there you go. He's famous. Yeah. Jackie Hughes. Hey, Teresa. I want your hat. I need a new beach hat. Thank you. If I find another one like it, I'll buy it for you. Okay. I promise, Teresa. I will. Not to sound mean. I don't think you're mean, Joe. Not to sound mean, but is Candace smart enough to hide it for 9 months? Criminal mastermind doesn't really ring true, right, Joe? I'm with you. I'm with you. You know, Joe's bringing up a good point here. Let's say she was a genius, okay, for argument's sake. Even if she's a genius, we've seen how drunk, how intoxicated she has become at times when the camera was rolling. In vino truth, right? In vino veritas. So do we really think, even if she were a genius, as much as she has battled with substances, especially alcohol type substance, she probably would have let something slip by now, right? Miss you too, BZ Mama. Oh, BZ. my daughter is going to come and try to see the Barrymore Few trial. So I may have to put you guys in touch with each other. She's a hoot. She's fun. Handwriting can show nervousness and learning difficulties. 100% good, Grandma. You're exactly right. Busted slinky. Damn, I hate when my slinky gets busted. Monk-minded mama. Yay, listening as I drive. Drive safely, mama. Cinnamon, hot, hot, hot. What do you mean by Czechoslovakia is gone? Damn! Leave it to Cinnamon Hot Hot and get me back on track. Thank you, Cinnamon. Remember a while ago when I said, seems like there was one more thing I wanted to talk about related to the news. Do y'all remember that? Well, Cinnamon Hot Hot is the one that recalled it. Yeah, so I heard through the grapevine that Czechoslovakia was fighting with, at war with Russia. Did y'all hear that? Yeah. So Czechoslovakia was actually created in 1918, and it came to pass through the liberation of Austria and Hungary in 1918. Now, in 1938, after the Munich Agreement was signed, part of that was to put Czechoslovakia back together again, like Humpty Dumpty, right? And so the years go by, and different things happen. World War II, and then they come back as Carpathian Ruthenia, and which becomes part of the Ukrainian USSR. And then there's more peace talks, and then there's bigger problems. And then finally, after years of a period of reparations in 1993, guess what happened to Czechoslovakia? It died. It's gone, but it was rebirthed. And it's called the Czech Republic and Slovakia. So I don't know why people think that Russia is in a war with Czechoslovakia right now. Czechoslovakia hasn't been around in a long time, but Slovakia is around, as is the Czech Republic. And they too demand protection, just like Poland. All right. That was my last point to make. How was that? There you go, critters. How was it? Okay. Hey, Scottie Nona. You guys have a great afternoon. Next time you see, so sad, right? 2 countries now, BZ. Yeah. Czechoslovakia hasn't been around in a long, long time. It's 2 different places. Yeah, they cut it in half. Much of history, it was already broken in half. There were periods of time where they were merged, but for the most part, they've been divided. And so there is the Czech Republic, and then there's Slovakia. So if you look on a map, you'll see it there as those 2 different places. If you draw a circle around them and color them all the same color, then you can pretend that Czechoslovakia still exists. It doesn't. Not for a very long time. Okay. My ancestors come from the Volga River, where Catherine the Great allowed German farmers to come there. My great-grandma spoke Czech, and we were the Volga Germans from Czech. Very cool, Grandma. So, Grandma, is my quick historical recap, was that accurate? Did I tell it properly? I learned the countries to encourage my son to learn them last year. That's cool, BZ. Yeah, that's it. Some of the analysts think that that's part of what's driving Putin, is that he's trying to go back historically and reunite the original USSR, right? He wants to be back in the USSR. Hey, cat, how are you? Maybe the cat got her. Have you checked? Was it the cat? Did the cat get her? Tell me something, the cat. Are you Barry? Are you Barry Morphew undercover? I see a picture here. Let me see what the picture looks like. Oh, it's a picture of a cat. There's another picture of a cat. There's cats everywhere. I'm back to where you once belonged. Get back. Get back. Putin wants to relive the glory days of the USSR. The cat says, no, I'm not. I'm not Barry Morphew. Yeah, I don't think Barry Morphew would be on YouTube in the middle of the day. I think he probably spends most of the day outside. Get back to where you once belonged. Get back, Loretta. You said now, and your doggy is barking. I got a couple of dogs. My big dog, I've got a big Australian Shepherd male, and he is out there barking at a squirrel. And then I have a really, really old Pomeranian, and she just barks because she has no idea where she is. She has no idea where she is or who she is or what she's supposed to be doing. And then Sage is fast asleep on the end of the sofa. Sage Rage. What's he doing? Are you a good girl? Come here. Sage. Where's your toys? Where's your toys? Go get your toys. You can come see me? Get your toy. Go get your toy and I'll throw it. I'm trying to wake her up. She's stretching. Are you so sleepy? You have to get up here if you're going to come see me so everybody can see how cute you are. Oh, he's a cute puppy. He's a good puppy. She's a good girl. She's a good girl. High five. Oh, I'm too sleepy, Mama. High five. Hey, high five. Good girl. Hold on a minute. Reach for the sky. Reach for the sky, Caesar. No, reach for the sky. Yay, Caesar. You're so goofy. You're so fine. You hear Drover? You hear Drover barking at you? Oh, Drover's crying. He's just a puppy. High five. Oh my goodness. High five. High five. High five. Sage. She doesn't want to. Are you too sleepy? Huh? Are you a sleepy baby girl? I know you are. And you are dirty. You need a bath so bad. Okay. All right. I guess I'm done. I hope you guys are having a great day. Yes, my little Sage reaches for the sky. You reach for the stars, Sage Rage. Sage, come here. Hey, come here. Come here. Come here, Sage. She says, no, I refuse. Are you grumbly? Huh? Are you grumbly because you're so sleepy? Are you too sleepy? She has human eyes. She is a hunter. She is definitely feels her Cocker Spaniel genes. She hunts. She just, once she goes outside, it's just her nose is to the ground and she's just tracking the whole yard, tracking. So when she comes in, she's tired. She's ready for nap time. Right, blonde. Yeah, Sage just got to have a bath too. if I talk too much about her getting a bath, she'll actually go hide under the bed because she doesn't like having a bath. Hi, Yvette. How are you? Get back to where we once belonged. Jojo was a man who thought he was a loner, but he didn't molest. Bum, ba-da-da-bum. All right, y'all are not talking, so I'm going to end this live. Okay, y'all have a great afternoon, and I'm going to be back later, and I'm going to be a bit on the academic side, and I'm going to talk about the neurological requirements for handwriting, and why your handwriting is not a reflection of your guilt or your innocence or even your personality. Okay. All right. Hey, Nancy Drew. Hey, Freddie. Just got back to Black Cockapoo. He's 14 weeks old and mental. I'm sorry. Oh, it's a Black Cockapoo. They're beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Freddie, she is a cockapoo too. She was picked. She came off of a farm, right? She actually came off an Amish farm, and there were probably, I bet there were 25 puppies there of different ages, right? And she came right over and sat down right at the feet of my daughter while all the other puppies were just like insane. They were just crazy. And she turned around and she looked at my daughter, and her eyes are like hazel. They're not dark. She has human eyes. You can see the pupils because the outside part is like a honey color. And so my daughter said, "This is the one. This is it. She's the one I want." So she definitely, her genetics, she wants to be outside. She wants to be on the go, wildlife. I mean, she can catch a bird as it's beginning to fly. I mean, she is really, really athletic. So yeah, so you should take pictures of your Black Cockapoo and put it up for us to see, Freddie. Be nice. Okay, U.S. Embassy for the Ukraine had biolabs listed on their website that were in Ukraine. They were looking at DNA for Russians. What? They were looking at DNA for Russians and Caucasians. For what reason, Nancy? It's a little disconcerting. Her name is Sage. Like fools and sages. Are you a sage? Are you a wise old sage? You're driving to Sagewood Middle School. Hey, what do they call it? Synchronicity, right, BZ? It's a real thing. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Bye, Powder Puff. Thank you for being here. Enjoyed talking with you. $8 a gallon. Oh, we're all terrified. Putin wants to go back to old Russia. There's talk. Putin has begun to have signs of dementia and some other neurological issues. Moon phase, cortisone therapy. Yeah, well, yeah. I remembered seeing him, a video of him 3 or 4 years ago. They were at a parade, right, like a military parade. They were in Russia. He was standing at attention, and the Russian army people were, doing their formations, whatnot. And I don't even remember now what it was, but it was just like a celebration kind of thing. But what scared me, what kind of shocked me, and I've remembered it, is that they're playing the national anthem I'm talking about for Russia. They're playing the national anthem, and Putin, standing at attention in front of tens of thousands of people, he begins to weep when the national anthem is being played, and his military is marching past him, and he's standing out there on the tarmac, by himself at attention, looking at his troops. And the national anthem starts playing, and he cries. I don't mean a glistening tear on his cheek. I mean, he's sobbing. How crazy is that? So I saw that and I thought, oh, this is not what we want to see from a guy who's got a key to a nuclear weapon. I would rather a guy with the access to a nuclear weapon not have big emotions, So I agree. He does have some things that have been recorded, that you can see. He seems to be having a little trouble. His right leg, he's maybe. I'm going to buy a new bike. Well, critters, I hope that you will find a baby blue bike with white leather seat and white walls. How would that be? I'm going to try to look into it, Nancy. Yeah, we'll all be walking, or we'll be back on horseback, right? What state was it at? Was it looking at $8? You said $8? Look up Coach Red Pill. He is in Ukraine, living there. I will. Thank you, Nancy. I'm having a hard time reading. Beautiful room. Thank you, Nancy. Yeah, I'm in my nest. This is where I sit during the day. You see my shells back here? This one came from the Red Sea, and this one back over here I found when I was swimming. It's a queen conch, and we were swimming in Belize, I think, and I actually pulled it up out of the water. It rolled up on my foot while I was in the water. This is the kind that they use to make cameos. Isn't that beautiful? It's called a queen conch. And it like I said, we were actually out in the water and it rolled up on my foot. This one was from Egypt. And then if you could see back over by where the stairwell is, I got a ton of king conch shells, and then I got a huge piece of like driftwood that came out of the ocean that's covered in what's it called? The stuff that barnacles. Kind of pretty. You see that? So that is a multi-million-year-old shell. This is one of our small ones. We've got some. There's some out in the rose garden that are like 3 times this size. But this one lives in the house. Yeah, it's dirty now. And I don't know if you can see my Can you see my? No, you can't, can you? No, can't see it. I was going to try to show you my big piece of lumber I pulled out of the ocean. Bill said, "What are you going to do with that?" I said, "I'm going to put it in my house." He said, "Why?" I said, "Because it's pretty. Because God made it and it's pretty." So. It's a big one, Snow Lion. Yeah, Bill likes fossils. He's got a lot of different fossils that we've either found or bought through the years that he really likes. But I like shells. May use for self-defense. You could conk someone on the head. That's what. There's your word, right, Wanda? The word conk someone, or he conked out. Yeah, exactly. It's natural. It's part of the ocean thing. That's right, Nancy. That's exactly right. And God is a better artist than all of us, right? It really is pretty. It really is pretty. But my mom once hung a piece of driftwood on the wall. Yeah, driftwood's gorgeous. It's beautiful. Thank you, Cinnamon. Hi, Anna. All right. Okay, peeps. So I got some stuff. I got some reports and some stuff I need to write and get done today before the end of the day. And then I'm going to do another live where I talk about the neurology, the interface, the ocular graphia neurological interface, and why handwriting cannot be a indicator of personality or somebody's guilt or innocence. All right. Okay. Be careful of woods. They can have book fleas. Oh, yeah. Well, so this piece was in the ocean, saltwater, and it's very old. You can look old. It's covered in barnacles. I pulled it up. It's about 5 feet long. It's about 5 feet long, about 3. Well, anyway, I don't know how I got it up over the rocks and stuff, but I pulled it out of the water, pulled it up on the concrete, and left it up there for about 2 or 3 weeks. It was summer. I left it out in the direct sunshine. And then once the sun dried it and everything, then my husband and son carried it up to the house. He said, "Where are you putting it?" I said, "I'm going to put it on my ledge." And there it is. Thank you so much, Snickers. Okay, y'all. I'll see y'all tonight. We'll talk some more about handwriting, and then we'll find something else to talk about, right? Y'all have a good afternoon. Talk to you later. Bye.